What's up, guys? Rick here with your DFS preview for this week's PGA Championship. That's right, it's major week, which means we've got major announcements and major congratulations to dish out. First of all, the long-awaited RickRunGood swag has arrived. The Run Good store is now live. So if you want one of these Rick Run Good shirts, there's a bunch of different designs. There's shirts and hats and sweatshirts and all this other stuff. It's rungoodstore.com. Obviously, we'll link it in the description. Free shipping worldwide. Different colors for everything. My wife made it. So if you buy something, it'll make her happy. It'll make us all very happy. Congratulations for last week's WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational, because again, the community is full of winners. So I've got to shout it out because we are carrying this momentum into the PGA Championship. So let's start and work our way up here. Alex Osterich, I don't know if I said that right, $8 into 74, JT outright plus 6th place on Jock Market. That's pretty cool. That was fun. Dynasty Drunkard turned his $60 into 238 because he picked up JT after round 3 at like 9-1. Congratulations. Callum McCaslin, I say that name, I swear, every single week. 77 into 376 thanks to JT and Burger Bets. Noah Hirschaway, I don't know if I got that one right. 40 into 440. Again, a round 3 JT ticket. So if you are listening to the First Cut Pod, that's kind of where I think a lot of these stemmed from, the CBS Sports podcast that I host. Clark Ainsley, $25 into 525. We'll take that ROI every single week. Mentioned to me, he's now hit 3 winners in the restart. Congratulations, Clark. John Walker turns his $73 into 587. Congrats. Mitch Quinnell, 15 into 600. Here's one of my favorite stories of the week. He's basically turned that $10 that FanDuel gave him for free into like $600 in the last 2 weeks. I love stories like that. Steve Frazier, thanks to JT, has a $50 in, $600 out. Bo Boldick, 45 into 680. Congrats. Nick Nowitzki, thanks to DraftKings lineups and a JT outright, turns his 265 into 958. And now we get into the 4 digits. Nick Montalbano, 135 into 1100. Congrats. Mike Cav, 70 into 1350. That's awesome. Nikki Noodles had a JT outright and a JT Jim Furyk double, which is great. 90 into 1900. We're not even close to done yet. Jesse William turned his $218 into 2174, 2174. Cam McCann turned his I love this, $21 into 2,550. That could be anybody, any single week. What a great run there by Cam. Chadwick just smashed JT after round 3, 600 into 3,000. The Mush God had various JT bets, and it was not mush because he turned his 1,100 into 6,200. But here's the big winner of the week. Member of the site, Brad Harrison, sent me a note telling me that he turned his $195 that he played on DraftKings into $12,299. Congratulations. Congratulations to everyone. We are going to keep the momentum rolling into the PGA Championship. And if you want to use the tools, be a part of the RickRunGood.com community, well, you can sign up, but also I'm giving away a couple of monthly subscriptions. So the winners from last week, Philly Fingers, you win a month subscription to RickRunGood.com. And R. Bartleson, you have won a subscription to RickRunGood.com. I will get in touch with you. I'll get you all set up. And if you would like to win for this week, plus anything you want from the Run Good store. How about that? We'll spice it up a little bit this week. The drawing is for a month subscription to RickRunGood.com and anything you want from the Run Good store. There are 2 ways to enter. If you are on YouTube, make sure you are subscribed and clicking the notification bell because, oh yeah, more content, and comments, I guess, coming this week. Should be awesome. Leave a comment below who's going to win the PGA Championship. That's it on YouTube. Go over to Apple, iTunes, leave a 5-star rating and review. Say something nice about the show and leave me your Twitter handle so I can get in touch with you. Those are the 2 ways to enter. Do them both. Double your chances. I will leave a link in the description for the podcast so that you can get over there. It's called 300 Yards to Unknown. You can search that, or you can search Rick Run Good as well. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a great week. Let's jump into it. PGA Championship, TPC Harding Park. What do we know about TPC Harding Park, which is in San Francisco? We know a few things. Obviously, this is actually a municipal course, which is kind of crazy. You can just go play this public course, but it is not going to look anything like any muni that you have seen. The fairways have been pinched in. Obviously, the rough is up high. This was the host of the 2015 WGC Match Play. It was won by Rory McIlroy. Depending on when you go back and look, you might see that there was Poana greens on TPC Harding Park. Well, those were ripped out a handful of years ago. They're on bent grass now. So if you're looking for grass stats, remember this is going to be bent grass. It is a par 70, and the PGA of America going with top 70 and ties for this week. So remember, the PGA Tour switched to top 65 and ties, at the beginning of this season? So in the fall of 2019, this event back to top 70 and ties making the cut. So there will be a few more 6 of 6 lineups that get through. Not a lot of water necessarily in play here, right? I mean, it's on the coast. I think that's the big thing, is whatever the temperature is in like San Fran, it's going to be different. It's going to be colder. It's always just kind of wet. There's this marine layer. It's probably going to be, mid 60s as the highs, more wet conditions than we've seen recently. It's kind of like Pebble Beach, right? It's just always a chance of rain and guys wearing, 2 gloves and all that stuff. And it'll be chilly in the morning, right? It's going to be like 48 degrees when some of these guys tee off on Thursday and Friday morning, warming up throughout the day, but it's not going to get hot like it was in Memphis last week. And then remember, the PGA Championship, of course, is a rotating major, right? We don't play it at TPC Harding Park every single year, so we don't have a lot of great history from TPC Harding Park, but we have a lot of great history from the PGA Championship. And you can glean some things from that because, you always have a similar strength of field, right? It's always a very deep, strong field. Usually the rough is very penal. You need to hit the ball in the fairway like you will have to at TPC Harding Park this week. So it's not, obviously not the same course every single year, but there are some things that we can learn from past history. If you're into the new grass specialist tool on RickRunGood.com on the course key stats page, this was pretty popular last week. People enjoyed this. So the way this works is we take everyone's strokes gained putting, their baseline, and we compare it to just what they do on each grass putting surface. So for this week, it's obviously bent grass. And then we rank the guys essentially who's much better on bent grass than they are normally. So you see some of these guys don't have a lot of rounds, right? Like Sean Norris, Tom Lewis, Lucas Herbert, all are the top 3 specialists. Now they have 20, 36, and 14 rounds respectively on bent grass. So you look at the first guys who have a larger sample size. Brooks Koepka. Brooks Koepka, the first guy with a massive sample size, is essentially a half a stroke better per round on bent grass than any other surface. Sungjae Im similarly about a quarter of a shot better. These are guys who have some of the largest differences. Other guys you might consider. Matt Wallace is a quarter of a stroke better. Matt Kuchar, Harris English, Andrew Putnam, even Matthew Fitzpatrick, better on bent than their standard putting surface. Now, the opposite, the anti-specialists, the guys that struggle on bent. A couple of small sample sizes with Jazz Janewannanand and Matthias Schwab. Those two guys are terrible, but smaller sample sizes. The guys who are bad with larger sample sizes, Wyndham Clark, Sung Kang, Tommy Fleetwood, really struggle historically on bent compared to other surfaces. Now, if we scroll down and look at the most important stats for a PGA championship, and again, this is for a PGA championship. This is not for TPC Harding Park. So it's a little bit different, but again, rough is always going to be penal. The course is usually going to be longer. The fields are going to be more difficult. So there are things that we can take out of this. It is no surprise to me that strokes gained approach and strokes gained off the tee are the two most important stats in a PGA championship. And the reason that they usually are is because if you miss a fairway, you are in the thick of it, right? There is thick rough everywhere. The angles that you come in for in a major championship, especially the PGA championship, are critical. So having a shot to fire at pins or have a shot to hit it on the correct side of the green starts with you hitting it into the fairway. So only 9 other tournaments, only 9 other courses on the PGA Tour is strokes gained approach more important than it is here at the PGA Championship. And then strokes gained off the tee, that ranks 23rd out of 50, so it is the second most important stat at the PGA Tour, and it is a just above average stat when you compare it to the other 50 courses on tour, or tournaments on tour, I should say. So let's go through them. So who in this field is the best in strokes gained? We'll start with strokes gained approach, I suppose. That's the most important one. Well, Justin Thomas, your winner from last week and your most expensive golfer in the field, and oh, by the way, your new number 1 player in the world, leads the tour in strokes gained approach and leads this field in strokes gained approach. Right behind him are a couple of more value guys. Colin Morikawa, the only other guy besides Justin Thomas who gains over 1 stroke per round on approach, and then Hideki Matsuyama. There is actually another guy who, let's talk about Patrick Cantlay right now. Patrick Cantlay is $9,400. Patrick Cantlay is 4th in this field in strokes gained approach, and he is, let's see what he is in strokes gained off the tee. Probably, where is he? 25th, something like that. He's probably about 25th in this field, and I know he burned a lot of us last week, but let's look at what he did over the weekend. I'm going to go back to the live leaderboard here from last week. And if you look at his first 2 rounds, he did indeed lose 1.5 strokes from tee to green. It was bad. But even worse, he lost nearly 4 strokes putting. He had played himself out of this event by Friday. He was a combined 5 over par. And then something happened. Then he turned back into Patrick Cantlay that we would expect to see. And over the weekend, he gained 4 strokes on approach, so that's 2 per round. He gained strokes putting, and if you actually back out of this, over the weekend, he was the 5th best player in the field. The only scores better on the weekend, Tom Lewis, who went unbelievably nuclear, Justin Thomas, who won the golf tournament, Abraham Ancer, who finished T15, and Daniel Berger, who finished in a tie for 2nd. So Cantlay, if he can carry any of that momentum from his final 2 rounds from the weekend in Memphis over to TPC Harding Park, he might reel me in again. He's only $9,400. He might reel me in again. When you talk about strokes gained off the tee, there are a few guys that stand out. Of course, Bryson, right? He stands out in a big way. Is he going to be able to dominate and take apart a major championship venue like he has at, Detroit Golf Club? I think angles are more important in major championships. I don't think it's just a bomb and giggle or a bomb and gouge. So I'm a little bit concerned about Bryson, but still what he's done has been kind of nuts. His last week wasn't great. He lost a lot of strokes on approach in Memphis. He had a couple of water balls. Then he tried to hit a couple of hero shots, and it got ugly. Interested to see what Bryson ownership comes in this week. And then Cam Champ. Let's talk about Cam Champ for a second, because he's only $7,000. He's second in this field in strokes gained off the tee, and the narrative around Cam Champ has kind of changed recently. And I'll pull up his strokes gained database here really quickly. So if you look at Cam Champ, and I actually want to sort this by date, and I want to go back to like when he was winning. Here we go. Like when he was winning Safeway and when he was winning Sanderson Farms, everything had to go right for him because he's always had this elite driver, right? Off the tee, he's unbelievable. But the rest of his game was so poor. And you're seeing that week in and week out. I mean, he'd lose basically in every other category all the time. And he was a one-trick pony. And while he is still an elite off the tee player and he's worse in other categories, he is not as bad in the other categories anymore. I mean, you look at his putting. There was a stretch from the Charles Schwab last year to the Sanderson Farm, so that's like a 10 tournament stretch where he lost strokes putting in 9 out of 10, and the majority of them he lost 3, 4, or 5 strokes putting. It was really, really bad. And then it kind of started to turn at his win at the Safeway. Now you're talking about his last, let's see, 4, 8, 12, like last 16 events. He's actually gained strokes putting in like half of them, which is still not great, right? He's not, Jordan Spieth with a putter, but we're not asking him to be. I'm just saying he has cleaned up some bad parts of his game. He's still not great there, but it's much better than he used to be. Finished 25th at the WGC last week. He was awesome off the tee. He putted well. He's only $7,000. I don't think I'm going to have a ton of exposure to him, but he is someone that I think moves the needle for me just a little bit. The other off the tee studs, they're kind of guys that, we always know, right? Sergio, who he flashed brilliance a little bit last week for some time. Rory McIlroy, John Rahm, Xander Schauffele, Jason Kokrak, Bubba Watson. Those are your guys that are great off the tee. Let's jump over to the cheat sheet and see what we've got going on over here. 6 golfers priced over $10,000. And as we always get with the majors, very soft pricing. Rory McIlroy under $11,000 for the first time since, I don't know when the last time was. I could pull up his profile, but it's kind of surprising to see him under $10,000 or $11,000, excuse me. So when we talk about what to do here at the top, I probably want to live at the top or the bottom of this $10,000 range. Justin Thomas's game, to me, is as mature and complete as we get on the PGA Tour. I've kind of made this argument over his maturity a lot in the last week or so, and you saw it at the WGC FedEx. Like, he does whatever he needs to do at that moment. If it is, sit back and I'm not making any putts, let this course come to me. Let me just weather the storm. He can do that. When he's feeling it and he needs to put the pedal down, like, he can do that as well. I mean, he entered Sunday last week, 4 shots back. He erased that, almost immediately. And then when it was an opportunity to put that tournament into a stranglehold, he did it. Now, he wasn't able to do that at the Workday Charity Open where he loses in a playoff to Colin Morikawa, but I think he learns from that, and he's telling us this. I mean, the top 10s are unbelievable. He's got 4 top 10s in his 6 starts in the restart, including a win and one that he should have won. He's obviously won the PGA Championship before. He won it in 2017, finished 6th in 2018. I cannot find anything wrong with Justin Thomas's game. And, he probably could even be closer to $12,000 and he's $11,300. I think it's a pretty fair price. Now, your 2-time defending champion, Brooks Koepka, who has not, who has this is unbelievable. 4 top 5 finishes in the last 5 years of the PGA Championship. He's gone win, 13th, 4th, and 5th. It's unbelievable. Kind of rounding into form. Let's pull up his, I shouldn't even say kind of, he is. Let's pull up his, I want to go by rounds for Brooks Koepka, and I want to go by recently. Let's do this. All right, let's look at his ball striking. Ball striking is the combination of off the tee and approach. Well, gained strokes in all 4 rounds at FedEx St. Jude. It's now 6 straight if you go back to the 3M. And he's had a couple of rounds in the restart, a couple at the RBC Heritage, where basically he's gaining 2, 2.5, 3 strokes per round in this category, which is kind of crazy. And it's really been the putter that has even held him back. I mean, he finished 2nd last week, and he had a round where he lost 4.6 strokes putting. He lost strokes putting in 3 of the 4 rounds. Like, if that flat stick gets anywhere remotely average, he's probably going to win a golf tour, a major championship. He probably wins this golf tournament. That's how good he has been from tee to green. His approach game has been phenomenal. Like, I've been down on Brooks for a lot of reasons, but it's really getting good right now. And I don't know, like you throw him at a major championship, watch out the rest of the field. So those two I probably like. As much as I love Rory, Rahm, and Bryson, I'm a little bit concerned. I think I'd rather spend up for JT and Brooks, or I'd rather go down to Xander, who, this guy, man, like, let's look at his round by round. It just feels like he's knocking at the door. Let's pull him up here. He always has 1 round, seemingly every event, that he plays himself out of it. And at the WGC FedEx St. Jude, it was essentially the 2nd round. He loses 2.5 strokes on approach. He loses another almost full stroke off the tee. Like, that just plays himself out. He ends up finishing 6th, and it feels like he left so many strokes out there. Go back to the Memorial. His opening round at the Memorial, he loses 4 strokes to the field. It's just like, that can't happen when you're a top 10, top 15 player like Xander is. It just can't happen. Now, despite that, the results are still there, right? I mean, he's in contention a lot. 3rd place at the Charles Schwab. That was at Colonial. That's when he missed that short putt late on Sunday. Then he goes, top 20s at Travelers, Workday, Memorial, WGC FedEx St. Jude, with increasingly better results in each one. It feels as if he's knocking at the door. I love the way he plays. I love the skill set that he has. So I'd rather go, top end or bottom end of this $10,000 range. We've already talked about Patrick Cantlay in the $9,000 range. If you watch the show regularly, you know how I feel about Webb Simpson. This course might be a little bit big for him, but listen, Webb finds a way. I'm not worried about it. I'm not super stoked about it. I think he's like fairly priced. I'll have my normal exposure to him. Like, it's okay. We don't have to take a stand on every single player. Tiger Woods at 9,200. What do we do with Tiger? If he can putt, he can contend. That's it. I mean, it's very simple. His irons were great the last time we saw him at the Memorial. I think it's a weird situation where he kind of needs reps, but he also needs rest. I think he'll probably be popular because it's going to be a big major championship week. There's going to be a lot of people playing and a lot of people who want to play Tiger Woods. Again, I think he's fairly priced. I'm not going to go overboard. I'm probably not going to go super underweight on him. I think he's fine. But where I do think a lot of the ownership lives here in this 9,000 to 8,400. So this is Dustin Johnson, Daniel Berger, Colin Morikawa, Victor Hovland, Jason Day. And the run from Dustin Johnson, right? The win at Travelers, the 80-80-78, 3 rounds in a row from Muirfield Village to the 3M Open. And then he comes back and he shoots a couple of low rounds to finish T12 at the WGC. And he looks like Dustin Johnson again, no harm, no foul. Like, It's amazing the memory or short memory that this guy has. I do want to pull up his strokes gained database really quickly here. Or actually I'll do his player profile here, which by the way, added in these new little filters for year down here. Pretty cool. I like them. Okay, so let's look at this. And what was the issue at the 3M Open and at the Memorial? Well, the answer is kind of everything, but the big issue was the irons. He lost 4 strokes on approach at Muirfield Village. He lost 6.5 in one. That's one round. That is one round at TPC Twin Cities. But of course, fixes it, goes out, gains strokes on approach at TPC South. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible, a guy who can flip a switch like this. So I think he's going to be rightfully very popular in the sub $9,000, or I guess in the $9,000 range. He's a $9,000 flat. Because we know he's got the runner-up last year. He's been great at PGA championships in his career. He's always around, hanging in there. And then Daniel Berger, who historically has not been good at PGA championships, right? He's got a 12th place finish, is his only finish inside the top 70 in the last 5 years, including 2 missed cuts. Because, PGA championships, that's a big park, right? I mean, it's usually very difficult. It's usually very long. But Berger's kind of broken the mold this year. I mean, since the restart, he's played 4 events. He has 3 top 3s. He has a first, a second, and a third in his 4 events. It's unbelievable. 8,800, I think he gets a lot of play. Morikawa, Hovland, those guys are always going to get play because they're great ball strikers. They should. But Jason Day's really interesting. And I'm not a Jason Day guy. I usually don't play him. I'm always worried about him. Now he's 8,400. And I tweeted this out the other day. He has 3 straight top 10s on the PGA Tour. So Workday Charity Open, Memorial, and then the WGC event. It's the first time he's done that on the PGA Tour since like 2016. So he is in the midst of a really good run right now. And what I want to check is how he's doing it. I don't want it to just all be the short game, right? Because that's Jason Day's specialty. And you can see it's not. I mean, he has been basically across the board in this stretch, gaining in every single strokes gained category. He's been great with his irons the last 2 weeks. He's been great around the greens, as he always is. And he's been rolling in enough putts. I mean, honestly, he didn't even putt all that well at TPC Southwind. He was basically an average putter at Southwind and still finished 6th. The tee to green game was really good. So I am growing with optimism for Jason Day at $8,400. Obviously great at PGA championships in his career. If you look at just the last 5 years, he's gone win in 2015, second in 2016, 9th, 19th, and 23rd. So they're getting progressively worse, but that's still okay. That's 5 top 25 finishes in the last 5 years, including a victory. And he's just, I mean, I don't think it's an argument to say this is the best he's been since 2016. I don't think that's an argument. I mean, he's been really, really good. So Day at 8,400 will probably be the trap that I will fall into. All right, we'll go through these a little bit quicker here. Terrell Hatton gets a very significant price decrease. He's now $8,000 flat. He was terrible last week at the WGC event. Longer term, he's obviously been great. He usually plays well in tougher conditions. I'm more optimistic than most on Hatton, but I won't be plugging him into every single lineup. Tommy Fleetwood, 35th last week. I kind of mentioned this at the 3M. He looked like he was rounding into form, even though he missed the cut. When he was in the fairway, and I know that's funny to say, when he was in the fairway, he was awesome. Played much better, showed us flashes. He showed flashes at the WGC event last week. He ends up finishing 35th. I could probably be buying back in on him. And I hate to mention this, we got to kind of talk about Jordan Spieth a little bit here because he's doing something much better than we would expect. So let's pull him up really quickly and see what we can find. All right, Jordan Spieth. If I can type his name in, here we go. I want to highlight the restart here. So this event is the restart, Colonial. And if you look back before that, The last 2 rounds that he played, he lost 10 strokes on approach. Had a couple of really bad approach rounds before that. This is all one event here, so don't count that. It's 3 different courses, but this is the same event at AT&T Pebble Beach. So it looks like he gained 5 strokes on approach 3 different times. He didn't. That was the same tournament. But what I'm trying to get at is he was not a very good ball striker for the last, 18 months before the break. Now, since the restart, he's gained strokes on approach in 4 of the 6 events that he's played, and the 2 that he lost in haven't been as bad as the events that he would how much he would normally lose before the break. Am I still concerned that he can't hit the fairway? Sure, even though he's even been a little bit better there. He's been kind of closer to the field average. The last couple of weeks haven't been great. Always has the magic short game, always has the magic putter. So I'm not, again, sprinting to the window to bet Jordan Spieth. I'm not necessarily a long-term believer, but I would be disingenuous if I wasn't telling you that he is better on approach since the restart than he had been before the break. And even the events that he's losing in, he's not losing as bad. Take that for what it's worth. Do whatever you want with that information, but I need to tell you about it. All right, let's find some deeper guys here. Ches Reavie, who obviously played well last week, finished 6th, now has 3 straight top 25s. And oh, by the way, 3 straight top 25s in PGA championships. Yeah, Ches Reavie finding a way to get his name to the top of the leaderboard at PGA championships. He's $7,400. Bubba Watson at 74. Again, I'm not a Bubba guy, but I think he offers something interesting, which is volatility. And sometimes that is good, right? I mean, just look at his results recently. A 7th place finish at Charles Schwab. He's played every event since the restart. Am I reading that right? That's absolutely crazy. So 7th at Charles Schwab. Then he goes 52nd, miscut, 32nd at Memorial. That's a deep field. Miscut. And then 25th at the WGC, which is another deep field. I'm okay with the volatility. Just know that Bubba is not a safe golfer in any way possible. But he can hit a lot of not hit a lot of fairways. He can gain a lot of strokes off the tee. A couple of weeks ago, he was one of the best players in the field on approach. If he can kind of put the whole package together, I think he's kind of interesting. Who else do we have down here? Who else would I be willing to go to? I mean, there's a couple of names. Scotty Scheffler has played well the last couple of weeks. We'll see what he does in a major championship. Obviously, Tom Lewis got scorching hot on the weekend last week. I probably wouldn't expect anything like that again. Harris English, 3 straight top 20s and 4 in his last 5 starts, is here at $7,200. Ryan Palmer is $6,900. Ryan Palmer finished 15th last week, 2nd at the Memorial, 8th at Harbor Town, and honestly is having a much better season than people want to give him credit for. He's $6,900. Richie Warinsky, he won the Barracuda last week. So his last couple of events have been 3rd at the 3M, and then he won the Barracuda, which was the opposite event last week. Who else can we get down here? Interesting. I don't know if you have to go this far. Yeah, I guess you probably do have to go this far. I still like Mac Hughes. Unfortunately, this is probably not a good course for him because he doesn't hit enough fairways. His approach game is not good enough. So let's find guys who strike it well. Russell Henley, elite on approaches. Jason Kokrak, elite off the tee. Let's find somebody who can do both. Sebastian Munoz, okay in both categories. Although I don't know if what did he withdraw from? Let me check it. Let me check him real quick. He withdrew from the Barracuda and still in the field as of right now for the PGA Championship. That's probably as low as I would go here. Yeah, there's some qualifiers down here that I'm not super interested in. Let's make a model. Let's see how that goes. Actually, here's a couple. Let's do this real quick. I want to go back to the live leaderboard. I want to look at strokes gained tee to green on the weekend. Guys that are playing well or hitting it well. Berger was 1st. Thomas was 2nd. Palmer was 3rd. Tom Lewis was 4th. Hideki 5th, Lowry 6th, Neiman 7th, Corey Connors, Michael Thompson, Scotty Scheffler rounding out the top 10 there. Interesting. Okay, now let's make a model. This is the custom model on RickRunGood.com. You can allocate your 100 weights any way that you would like. For me this week, I'm going to go with 35 off the tee. I think you got to be really good off the tee. I'm going to go 30 on approach. I think I really want to focus on those. I also want to go with scoring average because I kind of want to, this is my way of kind of working in like bogey avoidance, right? Like guys that aren't, I expect tough conditions, right? I expect tough conditions here. So I'm going to put 10 on scoring average. I'm going to put 10 on par 4s because this is a par 70. Then what else am I going to do? We could do, I don't want to do scrambling. I hate the short game stats. Let's do a little bit of distance, little 10 on the distance, and let's just do our last 5 anywhere. We can put it anywhere. Let's do putts. Let's do scrambling. No, we're going to do scrambling. We'll do scrambling. That's fine. All right. And we're going to run this model. Oh boy. Rory McIlroy is our number 1 golfer. That is super scary. It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. But it's scary because what he has done in the restart has not been pretty. Justin Thomas, number 2. Xander Schauffele, number 3. Those are 2 guys that I really like anyway. This is solidifying it. This is probably, like those guys are going to be in a lot of my lineups. Hideki is 4th for me. That's interesting. I probably won't play Hideki all that much, but I will consider it more now considering he's my 4th ranked golfer. Patrick Cantlay being my 5th ranked golfer is interesting because he's my 5th ranked golfer and he is the 10th most expensive golfer on the slate, something like that. So that would be noteworthy. Jon Rahm is 6th for me. Then Harris English is my first real value play. He's only 7,200. He is my 7th ranked golfer in this model. I talked about his top 20s coming in. That's interesting. So maybe I'll get him in some more lineups. Victor Hovland is here. Colin Morikawa and Scotty Scheffler. Look at that. Is my other value. So a couple of values here coming out of my model, and then also solidifying kind of Justin Thomas and Xander Schauffele and probably Patrick Cantlay for me, who I'm going to have to go back to, it seems, for this week. All right, I think that'll do it. PGA Championship, our only major this season. It's going to be a boatload of fun, and there is going to be a boatload of content this week. So keep an eye out on the Rick Run Good YouTube channel. Keep an eye out on my Twitter at RickRunGood. I will blast out as much as possible. So much going on. Looking forward to it. Best of luck, and I'll talk to you guys later.